Northman is the new Robert Edgers movie that released in theaters. And if you don't know Robert Edgers, he did The Lighthouse and The Witch. I'm assuming if you're watching this review, you know who he is. And if you haven't seen The Lighthouse and the Witch, I'm not here to tell you they're great. There are thousands of other videos and reviews that you can read telling you the exact same thing because they're great. And they're not wrong. Go watch the damn movies. This movie is about a boy who is to be crowned king, and then after something tragic happens to his family, he goes on a quest of revenge from childhood to adulthood, and yeah, that's what this movie is about. Notice how I could describe to you the plot of this movie, which is not something I could do for other Robert Edgers movies. Of course I could, but the plot is not what really matters in those movies. Those movies are not what matters in them. They're very multi-layered movies where you can interpret them in different ways. That's why this movie is the most mainstream out of all of Robert Edgers movies, and that's not a bad thing. It's cool actually because this movie is like an art house movie, but it also has more of a wide appeal, and that's fine because I feel like a lot of people don't like that when art house movies have more of a wide appeal because they like art house movies and they always want them just to be the art house movies. But to be honest, art house movies are in a bad place right now, right? In the sense that theaters are not doing the best and they're having a hard time supporting these smaller movies. They go and they leave a lot quicker than normal because they're having a hard time finding an audience. Now, a lot of that I blame on studios and not the filmmakers and the people make this stuff. But if we can help the studios figure out that some of these things have an audience by making these things appeal more to them, right? Because this movie does have a lot of art house techniques to it, to the filmmaking. The movie's beautifully shot. The score is amazing. The performances are great. There's a lot of great art house elements here. It just is a more straightforward narrative to help, people who have a harder time engaging with these things come into this movie and say, oh, that was pretty good by the end, And that's what we want. We want more people to view these movies at the end of the day so we can get more art house movies, If this is what it takes to get Robert Edgers' next film to be made, this is what we got to do. This is a great movie. The story is great, and I think the elements of the story are very beautiful. You got this character who even admits in this film he's never had a real chance to connect with a human being. All he's known is revenge, and he has the chance to do different things with his life, and he breaks that chance to seek revenge, and it leads to something very fatal, towards the end of this movie. No spoilers, but that's a really beautiful and dramatic theme that I really enjoy with this film and its story. And I think it's a really beautifully told movie, incredibly well shot. The landscapes look beautiful. It's just a gorgeous looking movie. Everybody should go watch this movie. I watched it in MPX, which is basically it's like IMAX, similar deal. I think it's better than IMAX. If you ever come across a theater that plays MPX, use that, and it was great in MPX. The sound, the pictures, all great. But yeah, it's just really good, this movie. It's not my favorite Robert Edgers movies. And basically, the way I would describe this movie, if you ever seen Stanley Kubrick's Spartacus is a great movie. It's a really good movie. But it's Kubrick's worst movie just because, well, it's just a studio job. And I'm not saying this movie is a studio job. What I am saying is that it kind of feels similar to that, where Robert Edgers is going to make the projects that he really wants to make. But sometimes he might try to make a movie that's going to hit more with the culture, be a little bit more mainstream, that type of thing. I don't know. But this is a great movie. Everybody should go watch this movie.